Alright, this video is going to be some of my artwork throughout the years. This is my only artwork I have from when I was in high school, and the rest that I'm going to show are from my college course that I took on art. So yeah, this shows the timeline of the Earth, so that's like the beginning. This is before Earth, which was just the stars. And this is the Adam and Eve tree, so that's like the beginning of man. And then off to the side here, this is throughout the years until we reached the time of the Industrial Revolution, and that's why you have the wheel and the gears for machinery. So yeah, this is a scratch board. Originally it was all black, and then you take a sharp instrument and you scratch everything out. So all the white and everything like that has been scratched out. Yeah, so this is all done by me. I get a lot of people that say, oh, you didn't make that, you got that out of a picture frame. But yes, I did do this myself. I scratched this out, and it took me a week and a half to do, and a lot of hours put into this artwork. But yes, I did do this, and I'll show close-ups of it. So this is throughout time, and each layer, like see that's a layer, each layer separated is a layer in time. And then this, the layer separated right here, that's before humanity. And then this is when humans first came onto the earth. And then this is where we start working our way up till the 1700s, the Industrial Revolution. Late 1700s, I think, is when the Industrial Revolution started. But you can correct me in the comments exactly when the Industrial Revolution started. But I didn't do anything past the Industrial Revolution because this is based off of another person's artwork. So yeah, they stopped at the Industrial Revolution because this was an old piece of artwork that this was based off of. And again, it was based off of because I couldn't do it exactly because of copyright issues. So yeah. Alright, next piece of art. Here we go. So this is Egypt, obviously. So there's the dung beetle. And if you're wondering why it shows up like really bright here, because that's the way that I shaded it. It's supposed to look like that when... Here, I'll take a flashlight and show you. Hold on 1 second, let me grab a flashlight. So, because of the way I shaded it, the flashlight isn't showing it up, but whatever. Sorry. But anyway, so where the light shines on it, it shimmers and shines really good. And it makes it really stand out. So, this technique with the dots is called stippling. So yeah, there's a lot of stippling, like in the sand. And in here, there's Ra put in as the steps of the pyramid. And this pyramid morphs into a god. And this is a goddess. She's revealing the sun. This is the sun. Alright. And you can see the different stippling. There's different shading. And this is darker because that animal is shading in. And that's a hippopotamus, if you're wondering. And it's actually a pot. It's based off of a pottery hippopotamus that was discovered and digged up by archaeologists. So these are just different pictures. Like this is their dung beetle. This is their pottery. Some of the pottery that was dug up. That's the Eye of Ra. These are obviously the pyramids. the three pyramids. And again, this is before the Mandela effect changed everything, because in this picture, the smallest pyramid was off to the right instead of off to the left, how it is now. And the bigger pyramid was about the same size. Like, it was a little bit smaller. It appeared to be a little bit smaller. Like, look, right here, if you follow the line, right here would be the top of the pyramid, of the biggest pyramid, and this right here would be the top of the second biggest pyramid. And the reason why is because when you looked at the pyramids, they weren't on even ground. So even though that this pyramid was larger originally, when you looked at the three pyramids, the medium-sized pyramid appeared to be bigger. So yeah, that's how it was. So that's why this pyramid looks smaller, but it's actually the bigger pyramid right here. This one is the biggest pyramid, and it's the biggest pyramid there in the pyramids of Giza. So that's why I'm pretty sure it's Giza, but whatever. You can correct me in the comments if the three pyramids aren't in Giza, but whatever. Anyways, yeah, this one was bigger, so that's why I put it into the God, worked it into the God. But now the Mandela effect has changed. Now the smallest pyramid is off to the left, and now the middle-sized pyramid is in the middle, but it actually appears to be shorter than the largest pyramid. So that's all changed. And of course, this pyramid looks smaller than it is because of perspective in my drawing. So that's the way why it looks the way it does. It's actually a lot bigger than it appears because it's actually sitting behind this pyramid. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I've addressed all that, and I guess I'll put this in my Mandela effect, because I talked about the Mandela effect positioning and size of the pyramids and everything. So yeah, there we go. Alright, next to the next piece of art. Next to the next piece of art. Here we go. A deflated ball. And this was a kickball. So that's why I did all these lines. And my instructor really liked it, because he's like, wow, you did all that detail in there? That must have taken you forever. And I says, yeah, I know, but I really wanted to get all that detail in there. He's like, wow, this is really amazing. I can't believe I'm so excited about a deflated ball, kickball. I says, yeah, I know, I did such a good job. So yeah, if you notice, these lines were done with different pencils, so that you get the actual shading. It creates the depth to the ball and makes it look really circular and 3D. If I didn't do the different shading in the lines with different shading pencils, then it wouldn't look like that. It definitely would look more flat. So that's why I did it like that. And then this was a design. There was a smiley face on the ball, on the kickball. So that's why that's like that. And I did it with the shading because the design was painted over the ball, and you could actually see the lines underneath the paint of it because it had faded. So that's why I did it like that. If you're wondering why I didn't erase the lines where the paint was, because the ball was so old and deflated and garbage practically that the paint had faded through, so you could see the lines of the ball underneath it. So that's why I did it like that. It was the most realistic to how it was, and he thought that was cool too, how I did it like that. He's like, wow, you actually thought that through really good. And then there's the shadow of the ball on the ground. And when I was looking at the ball, it was like this on the ground. So that's a reference. I actually drew it differently than how it was sitting on the ground. So yeah, if you were looking at the ball, that's what it would have looked like. Yep. So that was the bottom. I was sitting down like that. So when you look at it like this, it really looks like it's sitting on the ground because of the shadow. And it really looks like the ball's popping out at you because of the way I did the different values of the pencil work. That was a really good drawing for just being a ball. But anyways, so this drawing shows you how to draw the different value of how you draw a face. So these would be the lines that you would draw. So there's one line that would go through the mouth. Then there's one line where the nostrils end. Then there's one line where the bottom of the eyebrow is, and then there's one line where it is the top of the ear. Then there's the middle line. So, and then these are the values. So the halfway of the head is where the top of the eye and also the bottom of the eyebrow would be. And then up from that would be the top of the ear. And then below half of the face would be where the bottom of your nostrils are. And then half of from there to the base of the face, which is above your chin, which would be right where your chin starts. So halfway up would be right where the middle of your mouth is. So that's what the values are. So if you want to draw a face, this will teach you how to draw a face properly and get all the proportions right. And then right beside it is a female. So this would be the male. And then this would be the female. And the proportions are the same. Most people would think, oh, the proportions would be different because it's a female. No. The proportions are practically the same. Of course, there is a slight difference, but it's not very much. If you notice, the slight difference is because the woman's lips sit up closer to their nose, so the line would be into the bottom of their lip versus the middle of their lips. Because you see, there's a difference, slight difference in the positioning, and that's just because of the way that the female's lips are shaped. So there's a slight difference in the location, but it's pretty much the same. Most of it's the same. Alright, and then here's a frontal face of a man instead of the side. So that'll give you the values. Again, here's the halfway of the face, then halfway up, halfway to the bottom, and then halfway up, halfway below, halfway, half of the bottom, and then you got the lips, and then the chin. Now when you're doing the front, the values would change a little bit of the location. Slightly, not that much, but there is a slight difference to make it look proper. Yeah, and that's my name, because I signed it. Alright, so this one has a back to it, and this would be the values of the face without the details. So if it's off to the side, it's not going to be circular. So you want that type of shape in it. And then this would be more value in detail. more values in more detail. And then here's the front. That would be the first shape. No detail. And then more detail. But again, not perfect, because these are like the stages that you go through to get all the way to here, to these. Alright, on to the next one. So this is of a church, stained glass windows, and this church was right next to a train station, so that's my train. And these are the electrical wires, and that's the electrical tower. And yes, the electrical wires just stop out of nowhere. And then they come down and end up here. And the electrical wires come up here and end up there. And then right there in space. And my instructor's like, well, why did you just leave it there like that? And I'm like, well, because that's where the photo stopped. He's like, oh, alright, well, whatever. There's the bottom of the train, and then the perspective line, so it gives depth. Right there's my point of my perspective point is right here. If you follow all the lines, they end up here. So all the lines connect off of there to the value point. And then there's other value points too, which the lines have to follow. So these would be some more value points. Yeah. There's more than one value point in my picture, which is alright, because if you're looking at a city, most cities don't have just one value point, they have multiple, because of the way that the person is looking at it. But if it's like an overview of the city, then you'll only have one value point most of the time. But depending on where you're looking at, like here, the person would be standing here, so because they're here looking at it, then you're going to have different value points, because they're looking down and back, and then they're looking up and right, and down and left. Well, up and left and down and left, and that's why you have the different value lines. Yeah, so this is a train, and that's my milk truck. My flying milk truck. And my initials. So I'm going to show some close-up of it, so that way you can see some of the detail you can't see from far away. See how it shimmers like that? My pictures, my drawings are meant to be like that, so that way you can see them from far away with minimal light on them. And it adds different values to it, of course. So that's the detail on the stained glass. Of course, it's going to look weird, and these lines are going to look like, oh, isn't that supposed to be straight? Because it's supposed to be straight. Well, this was a dilapidated church, so that's why it looks all messed up and everything. And why you don't have a straight. Like, those are supposed to be straight bottom stones, but they're not straight because it was falling apart. So yeah, there were bits chipped off of it and whatnot. Yeah, so it's just some added realism to the detail. It's really hard to tell, but that's the tower right there for the electrical line. The tower right there. Let's see, nothing on the back of that one. So this is a famous guy right here. He's an artist. I can't remember exactly who it is, but my friend one time said, "Oh, you drew me," because he looks just like him. He's like a dead ringer for him. A straight up dead ringer. I'm like, no, that's not you. I can't remember who this artist is. And I'm pretty sure he was an artist, but it's been so long. He might not be an artist. He might just be a famous person of some sort. Yeah. And you get some of the shading that has melded the detail together, so you can't exactly see the perfect lines and everything. That's just because of the shading. It was meant to be like that. A lot of people look at my drawings and they're like, oh, that's a mistake. It's like, no, it's not a mistake. That was meant to be like that. And I'm more of a like abstract person, so like I'll leave out detail and stuff like that. So if there's detail missing out of the eyes, it's on purpose. And why I do that is because it engages the person's brain into filling in the missing details. Like when they look at it, they don't even realize that the eye is missing the iris or whatever, because they're just looking at it and portraying in what they see, the missing detail, to fill it in, because that's just how a human brain works. It fills in missing detail. Alright, and then here's a female. And again, these are the facial lines. And let you know how to draw it. So if you wanted to learn how to draw a face, this would be a good reference point to how to actually draw the face. Let's go ahead and give an out view of it. So that way you can see all the lines. 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, 4 line, 5 line, 5 line, 6 line, 7 line, 7 line. Yep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, and then the 8th center line. And that's how you draw a face. And again, you see how I left out the detail? Person's mind fills in the details, so that way it looks pretty practically normal to you. Alright, so this teaches you about the different styles of line work. So you got crosshatch, stipple, dashed lines, quickly drawn circles, heavy to light, heavy, heavy to light pressure, vertical lines, horizontal lines, curved lines, heavy light, heavy uneven pressure, squiggles, dashes equal pressure, contour lines. And here's a pelican. Again, my signature on it. So this is a cross-hatching pelican. This is a parallel line pelican. This is a crisscross line pelican. This is a wavy line. Oh no, that's a stipple pelican. This is the wavy line pelican. So again, that's the stipple, and that's the wavy line. And then this is the scribble pelican. So that'll give you an overview if you want to look at the overview of the different styles. They're all the same pelican, they're just different styles of them. Alright, so I'll teach you a little something about art, the different styles.